fears are mounting for those left behind, particularly women. In a stark new warning, the Taliban is urging working women to stay at home for their own safety. A spokesman for the militant group calls it a temporary policy until the situation gets back to normal. And he said it's because Taliban fighters haven't been trained to respect women.
We want to make sure women are not treated in a disrespectful way or, God forbid, hurt. So we would like them to stay at home until security is in place for them in the offices.
Pashtana Durrani is the founder and executive director of an NGO for girls' education called Learn. She joins me now live from Afghanistan. We really appreciate your time today. You're incredibly brave. I understand you are in hiding. Just how are you doing?
I am fine. I'm fine. I'm holding up.
Holding up. You wrote a powerful piece in the UK Telegraph that I'd just like to quote so our viewers can hear what you had to say. You said, "There's a powerful uprising happening in Afghanistan. It won't be the one you've heard about, the one led by violent men who seek to justify their egos under Sharia law. This army wields pens, paper and tablet computers, not guns." This is your army. This is your army of educated Afghan women. Talk to us about how you feel it's up to Afghan women to defend women in Afghanistan right now.
See, Afghan women right now is like, in a sense, I don't want to talk or generalize on everyone's behalf. But one thing that for sure we in rural areas want is like access to peaceful stability and at the same time progress. So in a sense, if we're talking about education, if we're talking about working opportunities, they need to be just and fair, but at the same time, they need to be there in the first place. And that's how you raise an army. And I'm just tired of the fact that everybody has to come and oversimplify the Afghanistan's problems and the fact that Afghanistan has to come up with some, there is always a solution for it. Things will take its course, but at the same time, we have to understand that it's Afghan women who need to take their own charge, who need to be their own person, their own boss in order to lead the country. And we need that sort of leadership right now. And that's the reason I'm focusing more on the fact that there should be an army, but of educated men and women within Afghanistan to sustain and not let the political groups take over all the vacuum that is left behind.
You started the NGO Learn in 2018 when you were just 18 years old, as I understand it. Your parents had fled to Pakistan during the Civil War to ensure that you had a good education. What are you doing right now to ensure that women and girls can continue to get an education?
Right now, we are focusing more on the fact that if the schools are opening, what should be our focus, and if the schools are not opening, what should be our focus. We're also focusing on the satellite channels right now, where we can launch a landing page that would enable them to learn in their own languages, that is Pashto, Dari, or Uzbeki, or any other languages. We're trying to pull in all our resources and make sure that there is a feasible solution for education and working opportunity in the future for Afghan women.
The Taliban claim to be more moderate this time around. They claim that they will uphold women's freedoms under their version of Sharia law. Do you believe them?
I mean, let's believe them when they do something, right? Not the fact that when they say it. You have to believe this when they actually do it, when they let the women go to work, when they let the girls go to school. I mean, like they said under the Sharia law, but the classes open from grade 1 until grade 6. You just can't let that, that vague statement tell you that everything is going to be fine. You have to resist. You have to push for things like all educational rights until university and postgraduate studies, and at the same time working women rights. It's not like, you can use the alternative like teaching in a madrasa for all the other professions. You have to make sure that those things happen. For now, I just feel like they're just trying to be very vague about it.
And most recently, we just heard from the Taliban spokesperson that all women should stay home right now for their own safety. What did you make of that statement? Because clearly he seems to be suggesting that it's safe for male civilians to leave their home.
I'm just wondering and curious what will happen in 2 months, or like whatever their timeline is, that would make them accept women in public spaces. Like what would make them accept it? And that's something that I just want to know what is the mechanism in place. Would they accept women in Afghan public spaces right now? And even if in the future, what is the timeline? What is the framework? What are the capacities that they will share those public spaces in? And that's something that makes me keeps on wondering about the fact that right now men are acceptable, but then there is again a time that will push back all the time that women has to spend in order to work for the country. I mean, like, getting salary is one thing, but being functional is an important aspect of the country to progress for the future of Afghanistan. And there I just am it's they are feeling me at this point where I have to understand that what do they actually mean when they say they have to stay home. Or like, what is the framework in 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years? What then? Like, what is your framework? What will happen then? How will they accept women?
Since 2002, the World Bank has committed some $5 billion to development in Afghanistan. This year, it had committed $800 million. It's now one of a number of international organizations that has suspended that financial aid because of its concerns about the treatment of women in Afghanistan. What do you make of that? What sort of impact could that have as the Taliban tries to govern? And what else can the international community do?
See, aid is very important. Aid is something that the Afghan people need, and it's something that in the past even the Afghans have been looted, and it has gone to the corrupt politicians' pocket. But apart from that, the fact that right now there could be a mechanism in place by the international community where every time the Taliban go back on whatever they have said, there should be a mechanism in place to stop them from doing that. But it shouldn't be aid, because aid is for the people, and it should reach the people, because Afghan rural communities right now are in dire need of humanitarian and educational and civil and all kinds of responses. But there is a political mechanism that is needed in place in order for Taliban to actually channel those resources to the Afghan people, the aid. And at the same time, there should be a political mechanism in place. Every time they go back on their word, the world leaders should be watching them and should be making them accountable for it.
Absolutely. Pashtana Durrani, founder and executive director of Learn. You're still in hiding in Afghanistan. You're very brave. We thank you so much for coming on the program, and we wish you all the best. Stay safe.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Well, still to come tonight, the US president gave the intelligence community 90 days to investigate the origins of COVID-19. And now that time is up. We're going to look at the evidence we have so far.